an opener, and then we'll get into questions.
Yeah. Obviously it was we had a good day yesterday, working on things that we have to improve upon and getting better. And I told the team we had a team meeting today. So I told them, I said, we're not looking back, we're always going to look to, get better and what we can do today. I thought, and I told them, I said, before I've always broken up the season in many different ways. And I told them, I said, hey, we're 0-0. Don't worry about anything else that goes on, and let's just make sure that we're trying to win a game this week, and we're trying to get better than we were, yesterday, today, and we go out there and practice, and we just get more focus on our technique, and that's how we want to try to approach each week during the season.
Thank you, Coach. Let's start with John Reed for our first question. We'll go John and then Hayes.
How you doing, Coach?
Good, John.
From watching the film, I mean, what did you see out of Gardner Minshew, but especially his ability to spread the ball around, even though he didn't throw a lot of deep passes, but getting a chance to really look at that game tape, what impressed you? What things you think he has to do better going into this week, or if there's anything he needs to get better at?
Yeah, I just think, John, I think really to really nothing really like specific, like you say, okay, hey, listen, we really struggled, or he struggled trying to do something. I think each week brings a different challenge. I think the team we're playing this week gives you a lot of challenges on third down and the different packages and what they may be doing. So getting up to speed on that. I thought last game he played well, obviously, and now it's a matter of the consistency of doing it week in and week out and having a good week of practice like he had last week. I think, some of the things that you're always talking about, we're still constantly talking about, ball security, still talking about, footwork. We're still talking about making good decisions. I think those things are constantly, spoken about during the course of the year. And like I said, when in regards to Gardner, is that, he's probably a lot tougher on himself than we could be as coaches on him, which is, that's the competitiveness in him. So I think, right now he's looking at the plan. Today's the first day we're actually going to go out there and try to execute it. So that's what he's focused on.
Thank you, John. Let's go over to Hayes and then to Mark Long.
Hey, Doug, we know about Henry, but what kind of balance do the Titans now have offensively with Brown and Davis and Jonnu Smith in the passing game?
I mean, you're talking about a team that, went to the AFC Championship game. Another team that's picked to go a long way this year. Coach Vrabel and his staff, they do an excellent job. I think they're just, getting more and more pieces, together for themselves. And, each week we're going to play teams and there are going to be, a lot of challenges for us. And, it's a challenge. They have a lot of pieces on, in all three phases. They have a heck of a football team. They play extremely well. So, we got a bunch of young guys and we're just going to try to, get better and put our guys in good position. See if they can make the plays.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Hayes. Let's go Mark, Gary, and then Gene. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, good morning, Doug. Just curious, you've used not looking back a bunch lately. Is that kind of the theme for this year? Is it more important for a really young team to maybe emphasize that hey, we're just pressing forward?
Well, what my thought was, Mark, was, going into it, it's like, we got so many young guys, and first-year guys, and, not many guys have been around. So, you're going to get I wanted to make sure that there was clarity, meaning it was just, real clear for everyone. Knowing that it's just human nature for people to say, hey, listen, this is, this is what happened before, or, this is what happened to this team. And, whether it be success or failure, to say, listen, you know what, this is really a whole different deal. It's a whole different team. It's a whole different atmosphere. I mean, everything there's, it's almost like, with the pandemic and everything, it's like, if you labeled this season, it would be a season of change. Whether you brought older players back, younger players, whatever you have, everything has changed. So, I wanted to make sure that we kept our focus on a daily basis, and we kept our focus looking at the day and not getting too far ahead. And one of my things was I didn't want some of those players that were either new or young players to try to go, what was going on? What happened? What are you trying to correct? What are you trying to do? Instead of, my goal was just to go ahead and say, hey, listen, this is the vision I want to create for this year and with this football team. So that's kind of the way I approached it.
Thanks, Mark. Let's go over to Gary.
Coach, you used LaVisca in a couple of creative ways the other day. And do you ever, when you make a decision, you've got a player like that in training camp and you're going to run some plays like that, is there such a thing as doing it too early, or do you feel like at least we gave defensive coordinators something to think about the next 15 weeks?
Yeah, I don't know if it's as strategic as that, Gary. I think that, this is stuff that we were able to see him do in college, so, he's done this before, and, he's done it at a high level and, in college, and we wanted to see, what he can handle and what could he do for us. And, and it's a strength of his, that he can run the ball, he can throw the ball, he can catch the ball, he can catch after the run. There's a lot of things that he can do. And, I just think it's something as he can, the more he can handle, the more he can do. I think, we feel that's going to help us. That's what we're going to do, but I don't look at it as like a gadget or, hey, we need to do this for the next game. I think, like I said, the focus is on ourselves and our players and what we feel they can do to help us. And, he's a player that we knew coming in. That's my point in this whole thing. It's not like, we learned this during training camp. We had a good feeling about this when he was coming in because of what he did at college.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Smitter. Let's go over to Gene and then Mia and then D-Rock. Go ahead, Gino.
Hey, let me ask you this: Saturday or Sunday, you used Taven Bryan far more than you did any other defensive lineman. He didn't put up any stats at all. But could you just talk a little bit about what you see as his value, and why did you play him so many snaps, especially since he was coming off that knee bruise?
Yeah, but he was ready to go. I mean, we were just being careful, and Taven's one of those guys. He's in unbelievable shape. He's got great strength. Really had a great camp. Even though the numbers may not, show a lot, and it's kind of tough, especially when you're inside and you're battling, and hey, listen, you're forcing him to play, you're bouncing into a different gap and things like that. That's what I look at, and. We wanted to get him in there and we want to get him playing because, he's a player we feel, hey, the more, he did miss, like you said, a couple of practices, we were just being cautious, but, just getting him in there and playing. I think he's a guy, the longer he plays, the better he gets. And that's what we've seen really at a Taven. The more he's played, he's always improved. He's always gotten better, not as fast as maybe some people would like, and maybe even Taven, but, I really like the way he's playing, and we need him to play well.
As a follow-up, when you get a team like the Titans, who's traditionally probably one of the most physical games that you have on your schedule, does his value become even more important as a disruptor in a game where there's so much physicality?
Yeah, I think it goes to him, but it goes to everybody. I think you're right. I think. Coach Rabel's team, takes a lot of pride in being physical and knocking you off the ball and penetrating your offensive line and knocking them back. And, I think, it's the more players that you have that are able to play that type of game, what I'm saying, the physicality part of it, down in and down out, the better you're going to be. And I think that's what we've tried to do, with this roster, is to get a bunch of guys that, can play that type of game. I think, we faced we're going to face, a good offensive line this week, an experienced offensive line, with a great running back and a quarterback that's great. the tight ends, the receivers. I mean, and every week there's going to be challenges for our football team, but we're just going to try to get better. Just try to get better than we were last week.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you, Gene. Let's go Mia and then D-Rock.
Hey, Doug, obviously a unique situation in that the Titans are on a short week, but that they played that crazy 10:20 p.m. start time or whatever it was on Monday night. Did you watch the game live? And if so, or, obviously I know you've watched the tape by now, was there anything that stood out to you that maybe you weren't expecting to see on the Titans front?
There's always things that, I think, Mike does a good job that you're going to have something, what I'm saying, that each week that you might not have seen or might have prepared for, same thing offensively. I think you're always going to, early on until you can get a beat, there might be a couple, but you really just got to keep doing a good job, especially when you're, in the division, when you're playing these division games early. Everyone knows each other, so they kind of know what each other are expecting. So the unexpected is something that you have to prepare for. To answer your question, I woke up late thinking that the game was still on. I put it on and I watched near the end of it, and I thought they were doing a good job. I mean, they're a good football team.
And just curious, real quick, I know obviously J-Dub has been placed on IR. Any other health updates at this time that you can share with us after Sunday's game?
Tyler Davis won't be practicing today. We got a couple of guys with a scheduled day off. Josh Allen's we're just keeping him out as precaution. He'll be back at practice tomorrow.
Sweet. Thanks, Doug.
Early injury update for you. Sorry, Tad. Took your spot.
No, all good, Coach. I like the WNBA hoodie there, Mia. Let's go over to D-Rock and then to Osher.
Hey, Doug, it's been a while since the Jags have won in Nashville. Do you look at that streak of losses collectively to look for trends, or do you look at it each week, or do you not even, look back that far?
I think, Mike, that's one of the things I've changed this year. I've used to do that. You kind of look back and you look at things and, whether it's positive or negative, it's like, last week, right before the game, someone told me that, like, hey, the team you're playing really hasn't won here, and I'm like, what does that mean? That doesn't mean crap, Before I used to look at things like that when, you got a lot of guys returning and stuff. But I think, with this team, I mean, it's such a different atmosphere, such a different team and it's such a young team, I just know this, at least we're going up there. I know it's not going to be cold. Last year was the coldest game I think I've been in, and I've been in some cold places. But to answer your question, no, we're looking at this as this is our first road game, and I'm really curious to see how our young guys and our team plays on the road. I mean, it's the first time we're going on the road, so I'm more concerned, just about the operation of that and trying to get into some type of structure for them. You know what I'm saying? So this way we can go up there and play well.
Thank you.
Thanks, D-Rock. Let's go over to Osher and then Shipley.
Hey, Doug. With Miles Jack, beyond the position switch, have you seen anything notable, anything different out of him this year? Anything in terms of approach?
There's a lot of things I think that you can say. I think that, he's been great. I mean, even in the off season, talking to him, he was away for a while, with his, he was in Australia, when we were talking, and, just the amount of, how he was training and how comfortable he was and how, so for me, it started then, just in our conversations. And then, he's always been a guy that, when you threw the ball out there, was going to work hard and practice and do those things. And, I thought he's done a very good job of keeping care of body. And I told him, I thought, on Sunday, when we played, if you would just, you took all the numbers off of everyone, and you took what everyone has done or was doing. I thought you can argue that Miles was, probably the best player on the field. And I think he played like that. I think he played extremely well. So, he's, like a lot of these guys, like I told him, you set these expectations or you set these bars for yourself, and then now it's a matter of you have to go out there and be consistent because, if you're not, the same with the coaches. I mean, if you're not, then you don't really know what you have. But I think Miles is in a good place, and I think he's playing well, and we need him to play well. He's a good football player.
Thank you, Osh. Appreciate it. Let's go to Shipley and then finish with Jordan.
Hey, Coach. Can you just talk about the kind of challenge that the Titans receivers kind of present? Unlike the Colts, they're kind of bigger, more physical guys instead of more shifty, quicker.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. I think that, that's exactly what you see on tape. I think they're, obviously they're a good group. Two guys that I coached with at in Buffalo, and one of them at Syracuse is their receiver coach, Rob Moore. So, Rob does a great job, and he's got those guys playing at a high level. And I think we've got some young guys, and we're gonna have to play well. And Ryan Tannehill's a guy that can deliver the football. He has really good arm and really good arm strength, and their line can protect. So, like I said, there's a lot of challenges up there, and we'll just get our team prepared and get them ready.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Thank you, Shipley. Let's go over to Jordan to wrap us up.
Hey, Coach, do you have a plan in place yet at safety with Wilson out for at least the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, we've got a couple of guys that we feel good about. Andrew went in there and played for him in the game. Brandon Watson has been a really good player for us that played corner, and he's been a really good special teams player for us. He can play in there. And Daniel Thomas is a guy that's been playing. So we feel, even going into the year, we felt like we had depth at that position, even though, I thought J-Dub really, probably had one of his better games last week prior to the injury. He was playing, at a better level, and I'm more empathetic to, where J-Dub is. He's worked so hard. He's a captain, and I'm happy that the way the league is structured, the IR, so we can get him back here in 3 weeks. But these younger, the guys that are behind him have worked hard too, and we have confidence in them that they'll be out there and they'll compete.
Thanks, Coach. Have a good one.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks, Jordan. We'll see you guys in about 90 minutes for Coach Gruden. We got Coach.